All right, guys. Today, I'm going to share with you a book that you probably never heard of, and I highly recommend you read this book before you become rich, before you become wealthy, before you become a successful entrepreneur. This will save you a lot of heartache, I promise you. Now, if you're already rich, if you're already successful, you're already wealthy, kudos, congratulations. I still recommend you grab this book so that you can avoid some of the pitfalls that might be on the horizon coming towards you. Or maybe you've already experienced these and you can commiserate and be like, I made that. That happened exactly to me. So the book is called Mistakes Millionaires Make. This is by Harry Clark. It is lessons from 30 successful entrepreneurs. I wanted to share this book today because I read this a number of years ago. I read this, I would say, probably in 2021. And at that point, I was already fairly successful, right? I had successful businesses, was doing very well. And I read this, and there were so many lessons in it from reading about these people who had built $100 million businesses only for things to implode or for things to go horribly awry. And so these 30 entrepreneurs are interviewed and they share the lessons from their catastrophic failures. And there's these through lines that you notice from one entrepreneur to the next entrepreneur. And I noticed it even then in 2021 or so in things that I had done. I was like, man, I've made that mistake. Well, I wanted to bring this back up because it's one of those books that I think is worth revisiting every so often just to make sure, like, what are those mistakes and how do I make sure that I'm continuing to avoid them? Because it's not like you avoid the mistake one time and then you're good to go. It's like these are continual issues that are going to keep cropping their head up. So, for example, a couple of different ideas that are in this book is one is the idea of debt and leverage and recourse loans. So anytime you take on debt is a great tool for helping to, magnify the returns of your endeavor. It's a great way to get access to capital to fund the growth that you might need. But debt is a double-edged sword. And another word for debt might just be risk. The more debt you take on, the more risk you take. And it's just a matter of time until you take too much risk, and then the consequences of that come crashing down. So when it comes to real estate, people typically use a lot of debt, a lot of leverage to go out there and acquire real estate. You'll see people using 75, 80% loan to value. So if I'm buying something for $1 million, that means I'll go out and get an $800,000 loan. Now, to qualify for that loan, there's two different options. You can either sign a recourse loan or a non-recourse loan. A recourse loan says, hey, if this deal goes south, we're coming after you personally. You're personally liable to make up the difference. We're going to come after your personal assets. So it's a personal guarantee. A non-recourse loan is, hey, if this thing goes south, we can't come after your personal assets. Now, here's the thing. It's like all loans are really recourse at the end of the day if the bank really wants your money badly enough. They want to come for your assets if you screwed the pooch enough. But you need to be careful as you start to build wealth that you don't risk that which you have for that which you don't need. Right? It's okay to take on debt, to take on leverage, and take on risk as you are accumulating your wealth. But then there comes a time where now you have too much to lose. Now you need to reduce and go conservative with your debt exposure and start to pay down all your recourse loans, because one recourse loan that goes sour can bring down the rest of your empire. This happens so frequently. And this is exactly how you see people go from $500 million business and net worth and overnight that just vanishes and it collapses. Now, here's the thing. It's like, if you have the ability to build a $500 million business, you probably can do it again. So don't feel bad for a lot of these guys. For a lot of these people in this book, they built it all, they lost it all, they get it all back. Because at the end of the day, it's the skills that you acquire in becoming a millionaire that are far more valuable than the actual $1 million. This is a side tangent, by the way. I'm always baffled by this. I did a poll like a year ago. I asked people, would you rather have $1 million today or the skills of a millionaire? And it's like the vast majority of people that responded to that poll say, I would take the $1 million today, and then I would invest it, and I would get these returns and I would live off of this for the next 40 years. Or they would say things like, I would take the $1 million today and then I would use it to go get the skills of a millionaire. And it's like, if I have the skills of a millionaire, I have the ability to go make $1 million whenever I want. And it's like people not understanding just how valuable it is to have the ability to make money. Anyway, that's a side tangent, but it's one of the things I noticed in this book is a recurring theme of people building amazing businesses, collapsing, building amazing businesses out of the ashes, but doing it even better because they learned a very valuable lesson. Which this book, if you go and you unpack a lot of the lessons from it, you can hopefully avoid the catastrophes that they brought on for themselves. So debt, leverage, recourse loans, personal guarantees, that's one aspect. Another one is bankruptcy, understanding how to use that as a tool. Another one would be asset protection. These are things that you really want to think about before you become wealthy so that you can start to put in the foundational pieces from the beginning, rather than trying to cobble it together after the fact. Now, here's the thing, is I tell you that, but very likely you will not do anything with this information. If you're not yet, rich, if you're not yet a successful entrepreneur, you're probably listening to this and be like, I might read that book and it might be interesting, but I'm not really going to do anything with that yet. That's fine, but there will come a point sometime in your career and your journey where you'll look back and you'll go, I really wish I had done that sooner. So I make this book recommendation, The Mistakes That Millionaires Make, to you so that you will go read it right now. You will learn and you will go, okay, I'm aware of the lessons. Don't do anything with it because, that would be crazy. Then continue on your path, become wildly successful, start to experience some of these problems, come back to the book, read it again, go, oh yeah, Anthony told me so. And then go ahead and put these lessons into practice. Either way, I think it's going to help and serve you far better than just trying to go it alone and try to figure it out all on your own. Like intelligence is, learning from your mistakes. Wisdom is learning from the mistakes of other people. And this book, Mistakes That Millionaires Make, is, I think, priceless in that way. So go get some wisdom, and I will see you guys in the next episode.